Do you know the Muffin Man?
Muffin Man? Oh, yeah, because he lives on Drury Lane, doesn't he?
The Muffin Man.
Boo-Foons, mystery investigators.
Welcome to the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators. I'm Dan.
Hello, Steve.
And today we are going to Drury Lane, the Theatre Royal, to be exact.
Theatre Royal. It's a theatre, yeah?
Yes, and apparently it's one of the world's most haunted theatres.
Do you think everything in the UK is more haunted than anywhere else in the world? We do seem to have more ghosts than anywhere.
We do seem to have more ghosts than anywhere. There's got to be some sort of reason for it. Maybe it's culture, maybe it's stories, maybe it's the whole stone theory. But yeah, we do seem to have more ghosts than anyone else.
Yeah. So tell me about Drury Lane, Dan. As you've done the research and I'm just turning up again for shits and giggles.
Well, the Theatre Royal on Drury Lane, there has actually been a theatre on the premises since 1663.
And that was a long time ago.
It is a very long time ago. And it has been rebuilt several times. So it was rebuilt in 1674, 1794 and 1812. So the current building that is there is 1812. So for over 300 years, there has been a theatre on Drury Lane called the Theatre Royal. There we go.
This is the one Oliver Cromwell shut it down in 1650, is that right? Yeah, he would have shut it down. Oliver Cromwell, he's a miserable git, wasn't he? And you can't take our theatre away from us.
It was built in 1663.
Yeah. So, okay. Maybe they rebuilt it because after they got it. Yeah, maybe it was after his ban on theatres.
Well, it was built after because he was killed in late 1650s. I want to say either 57 or 58 he was killed.
Yeah. So Charles II claimed the throne in 1660 when they opened up theatres, and to celebrate they built the Theatre Royal Drury Lane.
Yes, sounds.
It was a result of the ban on theatres by a miserable git.
Yeah, well, he banned everything, didn't he?
He did ban everything. Wait, what did he allow anything? Just misery, wasn't it? So,
for fun, in your spare time, you read the Bible.
Religious extremism. I hate religious extremism.
Yeah, that's what it was all about.
Along with flip-flops, clowns, mimes, and and what are they called again? Morris dancers. Religious extremism. That's one of my top 10 hates.
Yeah. Well, that's what it was. He was he wasn't even the leader of the Roundheads, was he? He was originally the second in command, and then when they then finally captured Charles I, chopped his head off, he was the one that was put in charge of the country as the Lord Protector. And then they were totally against monarchy to the point where he was like, well, the monarchy, they do religion, but not my way. They must do it my way. And everyone's got to do it my way. Everything fun was banned, and everybody under the Puritan law, you had to wear clothes made of very specific materials. It had to be dull colours, so blacks and greys and those types of colours. You weren't allowed anything else, no bright colours. You had to go to work, and when you weren't at work, or if you're a child at school or learning a trade, it was then reading the Bible. No theatres, no pubs. And then they sort of went along with it, and then they started to get annoyed with it. And then he died, and then he then went, fair enough, my son's going to take over. And they went, hang on a minute, that sounds like a monarchy. We don't want that. So they then went to France and asked Charles II if he wanted to come and be king, because we need a king again to stop people from being horrible. And Charles II goes down as one of my favourite monarchs for one reason only.
What's the reason? Tell me.
During the Great Fire of London, He was partying too hard that he kept ignoring all of the messages that he was getting about the fact that London was on fire. And he was just having a party. Like, yeah, I'm the king. It's not on fire, really, is it? And he was quoted as saying something along the lines.
Like, what can I do? Pass me another beer. Yeah.
Well, he was quoted. It was something along the lines of, "I bet a prostitute could piss it out." Because he was quoted. It was something along those sorts of lines.
Well, yeah.
I'm gonna have to Google it now.
Make sure you have your safe search on.
I can't find it now, but he was quoted as saying something along the lines that somebody could wee on it to put it out.
Well, I'll tell you something. I went on that walk yesterday for charity and drank a lot of cider, and I bet you I could have put it out. I haven't drunk so much in a long time. I could have put a fire out with it.
Yeah, I love the fact that Charles II was just too busy partying to even worry about the Great Fire of London. Like, nah, let's party. It's party time.
Well, that plague-infested town, we can get rid of that. Yeah. Where was he at the time? I'm assuming he was out of London.
No, he was in... he must have been in London because he was getting messages asking what they should do. And obviously they didn't have telephones.
No, sorry, they didn't have telephones. Not even mobile phones. That's the best fact so far, Dan, you've ever given me. He was partying, but they didn't have telephones. It's like, this is 1666, yeah?
He was in Whitehall. Yeah, well, I said they didn't have telephones, so he must have been in London because obviously, you know, to get the messages that he was getting, he must have been near to London because to get the message anywhere further would have been difficult because they didn't have phones or anything. But yeah, he was in Whitehall. That's where he was.
That's your favourite fact about Charles II, and my favourite is he didn't have telephones. This is going to be a good episode, I can tell already. Right, so we've discovered that Oliver Cromwell was a nightmare, and just to annoy him, they built a theatre after he was dead.
Yeah.
And whilst London burned, Charles II didn't have telephones and just ordered prostitutes to wee on the fire to put it out whilst he was still having a party.
Yeah.
Do you know, we should stop the episode there. I mean, that's a good enough episode.
Yep, there we go. Anyway, Theatre Royal on Drury Lane. It is said to be one of the world's most haunted theatres.
Okay.
And they've got several ghosts all listed as being there. Some of the phenomena, there's about 16 different weird phenomena and strange things that have happened and are felt within the theatre. However, we're just going to cover the main ghosts that are seen there.
Can I just say, while you paused there for a second whilst you were taking a breath, I misread this. I saw this list here as lists of ghosts in the Theatre Royal, and apparently the names such as Samuel Pepys, who visited in 1665, Dan Leno, Joseph Grimaldi, Julie Andrews, Michael Crawford, Ginger Rogers, Ronnie Corbett, and Bob Monkhouse. Then I realised they're not talking about ghosts. They're just talking about people who actually have gone to the Theatre Royal. So good thing that Julie Andrews' ghost is not there, because she's still alive as far as I know. So is Michael Crawford. Okay, so if their ghosts are haunting Drury Lane, this is going to be a good one. And if that was the case, then it would lead to the stone tape theory. You know, if people find haunting places, they're still alive, then it may be the stone tapes has something in it. But let's not go into that because they weren't ghosts. They were just people who've gone to the theatre.
Interestingly, I've just seen what musical is on at Drury Lane, and it's a musical that I didn't realise existed.
What is it?
Hercules. As in Disney's Hercules.
Oh, that must be cool.
At the time of recording this, that's what's on at Theatre Royal.
I want to go towards the end of the year to see Beetlejuice the musical.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure which theatre it's on. I can't bother to look. But yeah, Hercules, okay.
At Theatre Royal, Drury Lane.
Yes, carry on. We got distracted.
We got distracted by the fact that Hercules is on there at the moment.
So, yeah. And if you want to get the 50% discount, use the code Boo-Foons.
Wouldn't it be amazing if that actually worked?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, if the discount works, let us know because we'll use it too. But it's got a very long history. It's over 300 years old.
What, Hercules?
Well, yes, that is over 300 years old because that's an ancient Greek story. All right. Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. There's been a theatre in place there for over 300 years, and they've rebuilt it a few times. And there's been loads of famous people have performed there, loads of interesting historical figures, even some that are still alive today or died recently have links to the Theatre Royal. However, there are several ghosts there. Several different strange phenomena have been felt there by ghost teams. So ghost teams that have visited have said that they've felt things like feeling kicked, feeling nudged. Strange things have happened, such as televisions in the dressing room have changed channel. They've heard strange noises when the place has been empty. So there's been all of these weird things that are often linked to ghosts have been felt and experienced by ghost hunting teams. And today we're going to talk about the ghosts that are seen there. So the famous ghosts that are seen there.
I think we should automatically discredit TV's turning over.
Yeah.
But there's some good, interesting ghosts there, aren't there?
There are. Well, you've got the man in grey, which is the one that when you search for ghosts seems to come up everywhere. And it said that the man in grey appears as a full body apparition. He wears an 18th century long grey coat, a tricorn hat, a powdered wig and riding boots. Different sources go on different levels as to what his appearance looks like, some referring to the coat as a cape, for example. However, the ghost runs on a time schedule. So he appears somewhere between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. during matinee performances, watches the actors perform from the same seat within the upper circle, which is at the end of the fourth row, eventually gets up, walks towards one of the royal boxes, and disappears into the wall. During renovations in 1848, a skeleton in grey rags was discovered where the man in grey disappears into the wall. The skeleton had a knife in its chest and was in a small room that had been walled up. It is speculated that this skeleton is the body of the man in grey due to the grey rags and the location being the same as where the ghost disappears. The story is that the man in grey was a wealthy gentleman in the early 18th century who had an affair with an actress at the theatre. She would meet him sitting in the seat at the end of the fourth row. But one day it was not her who met him, but instead a rival. The tale ends with the rival killing the man in grey in the theatre and hiding his body in the room before walling it up. It's said that an entire cast once saw the man in grey in 1939, and apparently in 2012 told ushers to shh. He's also been spotted during rehearsals of Oklahoma, South Pacific, Carousel and The King and I. An important thing to mention is that the man in grey goes back to links of Derek Acorah. Derek Acorah apparently saw him there.
Must be true then.
Must be true.
I like the way it says here, when he tends to show up for shows, they tend to be successful shows, or they become successful shows. So it sounds like he's actually a pretty good critic. He won't turn up for the rubbish ones.
Yeah, maybe all those plays that I've done in the past, maybe I should round up the people and go and do it at Theatre Royal to see if we were good or not.
No, you weren't good. No, you were very good. There's a photo apparently of it here. But I love it. It's just, to me, when you said he just turned and said shush, that just makes you think Ghostbusters.
Yes.
That's what I'm thinking. To have a ghost that actually just tells you to shush, that's awesome. Okay, so apparently there is a photo here of two ghosts sitting on chairs at the back of the theatre watching, even though there's nobody else there. We'll have to put this on the website when we update it.
But you see, the thing that's interesting is in the story, he's in the upper circle, whereas that's the lower circle, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Maybe these are just the poor folk.
But then also, with him going over to the royal box and then disappearing, is it because he's going to the box to go, oh, well, I thought of something else. Because we know that they are ghosts, because they're Marley and Marley. Ooh.
Yeah, Muppets are great.
While we're on comedy, should we talk about your favourite type of profession?
Oh my God, a clown. We're going to talk clowns, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay, go on. Tell me. I mean, the good thing, right? This is the kind of clown I can deal with because he's dead.
So Joseph Grimaldi, very, very, very famous for, well, I believe he was the first clown to do all the makeup and stuff, which is the bit of clowns that you don't like.
Well, any of the clowns really I don't like.
Yeah,
So I don't like their heads and I don't like their bodies, and I could do without any of them.
Yeah, and to be fair, his makeup does look very serial killer-esque. So
Yeah,
actually,
absolutely.
with Grimaldi, I can agree with you on your hatred for clowns on that front, because he does look very evil. He looks like some of the Japanese demons that we've been looking at.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Grimaldi is one of two famous spirits who are said to haunt the Theatre Royal Drury Lane. Apparently, he has been seen many times by staff, actors, and audience members. Some of the cast members have even said he visits them on stage, helps them to perform well, and guides them if they need any improvement. It is said he does all of this through nudging the performers and kicking them when they don't put in enough effort. Apparently, he even pats them on the back when they get laughs. So he's coaching them, directing them.
That's so cool, because that's
Ghostly
what I used to do when
director.
I used to help teach IT in schools. If the kids didn't do well, I just kicked them.
So due to Grimaldi asking for his head to be decapitated from his body before burial, it's been said that Grimaldi's apparition is often that of a disembodied white face. Apparently,
Sorry,
Grimaldi
what?
has also been seen in a photograph taken where it looks like a dead clown is sitting in the royal box.
Okay, no. Let's go back. What did he do? You're telling me that clowns are normal, and my fear and distrust and hatred of clown is abnormal when he wanted his head to be decapitated from his body before he was buried. Who's the weird one here? This just absolutely cements my feeling of clowns. What in his twisted little serial killer clown mind did he think this is how a clown wants to be remembered? I mean, are you serious? Is that what he really wanted? Okay, it says here he wanted his head to be severed from his body to ensure he was actually dead. Well, you would be, even if he's asleep. Just chop his head off. At least we know he's dead. I hate clowns. Psychopaths, all of them. And if you're listening to this and you're a clown, well, you can only just imagine what I'm going to say to you.
However, here's an interesting thing.
It can't be more interesting than that.
Right, so apparently in his will, he asked his 4 children, well, he asked them to be there, but he put in a special request specifically for one of them called Margaret, saying that she should see me out into my coffin, and the day that I am buried to sever my head from my body. The only favour I request, and then to follow me to the place of my burial. And that was to make sure that he was dead, as you said. In order to ensure that Margaret carried out this request, he offered a financial incentive, a gold watch, which was worth 70 guineas.
That's just sick. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode where you've got to stay in the haunted house overnight and survive that if you want to have the inheritance. I'm just going to ask my daughter if she would chop my head off when I'm dead, just to make sure. What's she going to say? I mean, that itself is a crime. I'm sure desecration of a corpse is a crime.
However, the only mention of it, other than apparently his will, is the comedian Jacob de Castro saying that Margaret did see to her father's post-mortem decapitation, but she couldn't do it herself, so asked for a surgeon to do it. However, anxious to lay claim to the bequest, she did the legal minimum by touching the instrument, the surgeon's knife, while the operation was being performed. However, we've only got that comedian's thing to say, this happened.
I tell you, humour has changed over the years, I've got to admit.
Yeah.
Because if that was his finest work.
Oh, hang on. It was his dad.
What was his dad?
Either I'm getting very, very confused here, or...
Welcome to my world.
No, sorry. It wasn't Joseph Grimaldi that did that. It was his dad that asked to do that. So it was this Grimaldi that we're talking about, Joseph Grimaldi. It was his dad Giuseppe Grimaldi, who was
Who wants
actually
his
a
head chopped
dancer
off?
and a mime. It was him who wanted his head to be chopped off after death.
But no, it says here that Grimaldi did. That's why his severed, floating, ghost-like, white painted clown face haunts the boxes. Maybe it's just something they all wanted done. Maybe it's just a family tradition.
The more I read, the more I'm finding that it was Giuseppe Grimaldi, who was his dad, that asked for that.
He said he was a clown. So why is his head haunting?
So he was a dancer and a
theatre
mime.
role.
So Joseph Grimaldi, his head, they think it's because people see a clown's face floating. So they've said that the floating clown's face that can be seen is Joseph Grimaldi. But they've made the link to his dad having his head chopped off and them. So it's one of those things that's crossed somewhere.
I think that is a sign of a dysfunctional family.
Yeah, because Margaret is Joseph's sister.
Well, this doesn't stop me disliking them.
Yeah, so he became a clown because his dad took him onto the stage with his brother and basically trained him up to do silly things in the miming. And then eventually he then started playing the little clown in a pantomime.
Apparently, Grimaldi was the first clown who actually developed a character around the clown rather than just doing stupid things.
Yes.
So the difference between him as a clown and the previous ones is he actually became a character. It's like much like Pogo the Clown, who took the role very seriously when he drove around doing his kids' parties.
Yeah.
So I think Grimaldi and John Wayne Gacy were very, very close together.
Yeah, so going back to Grimaldi, so the actual decapitation was actually his dad that asked for that. But everything
that doesn't
else
make it any better.
that we've said about him being a ghost, he is there as a ghost. So it turns out he helped designing the stage scenery and design sets. He also did several stage performances. Some of this was under the management of his father. And then because he was, like you said, he was one of the first clowns that made a character, he soon started working with Jean-Baptiste Dubois, who is a French acrobat, horseman, singer, and strongman. And Grimaldi then started working as Dubois' assistant. However, in later life, he then denied that he had been the student, but he was the student because he was there with him. And that's how he got the first job at Drury Lane. Then when it was then demolished, the second time it was demolished, he then worked at Haymarket Theatre, where he performed in operas. And then when the new theatre on Drury Lane opened, so when it was rebuilt, he returned as one of the principal young performers. And one of the first major roles he had after his dad died was being a dwarf in Valentine and Orson. Then he played a hag. Then he played a harlequin in a pantomime. And that's what then led him into being more of a clown.
So tell me what I need to know. When did he die? How did he die? Just want to know how he died, when he died. Just tell me he's dead, okay? That's all I
he
care.
is dead. So,
Good.
well, I was
It's like
looking here.
8
He was there
clowns.
for quite a period of time. He was there for
Well,
quite
yeah,
a
he's
long
still
time
there,
as
apparently.
a resident actor. So it makes sense for him to be a ghost there. He was there for well over 10 years before he went off elsewhere. He did go to Exeter as well, by the way.
Hell. He went to hell. Like all clowns, they go to hell. You know that film All Dogs Go to Heaven? Well, this is All Clowns Go to Hell. Sorry, I just can't like him.
He retired from the stage in 1823 due to ill health.
Oh, good.
The years of extreme physical exertion due to his clowning had taken a toll on his joints.
Oh, God. Just wants to clean his pip, didn't he? That's what he wanted to do.
He fell into poverty due to not working.
Oh, excellent. This is getting better, this story.
So he was disabled and then just sort of continued to fall very ill. Lived with his son for a bit, where his son then started to do a bit of acting.
Was he a clown as well?
No, he went on to be an actor.
Oh, much more respectable. And then he just let his dad die and they buried him. Excellent. That's the best thing I heard in this whole story. We've spent a lot of time talking about a dead clown.
Yeah. He spent the last few years of his life alone as a depressed alcoholic.
No. It's funny, that's how most clowns live their life.
So on the last day of his life, he complained of a tightening in the chest, but went to his local pub anyway, where he spent an evening entertaining patrons and drinking to excess. He then went home that evening and then was found dead in his bed the next morning by his housekeeper.
Hang on, lived in poverty, but he could afford a housekeeper.
Yeah, because by this point his son has started to pay for him to live. And the coroner recorded that he had died by the visitation of God.
The visitation of God, eh?
It was a verdict used primarily in the 18th and 19th centuries to describe sudden, unexpected deaths with no obvious cause, such as natural causes, heart attacks, or strokes.
Okay.
And he was buried in St. James's Churchyard, Pentonville, on the 5th of June, 1837. And they've now called it the Joseph Grimaldi Park, where you can now go and dance on his grave.
Literally.
And it makes noises.
Get off me. Yeah. The only thing that matters to me is he is dead. And he died miserable. So that makes me happy. See, clowns can make me happy. The more they suffer, the happier I am.
Art the Clown makes you happy?
Art the Clown.
When you watch Terrifier films?
Yeah. Oh, that actually, it does make me chuckle. This is the thing, right? I love clowns in horror films because I think they're perfect. I mean, some of my favorite horror films, and so, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Tim Curry is Pennywise, and even the new one is fantastic. I love clowns in horror, but in real life, you put a clown in front of me, I just want to punch him. Unfortunately, with this fight or flight thing they talk about, I'm too big and slow to flight, so I have to just stand there and punch a clown. Or a Morris dancer, or all the other list of all the other things I've said. I'm losing track of the things I say I hate. You can tell I'm just an old man now, can't you?
Instead of talking about a clown, would you like to move on to a music hall comedian and musical theatre actor?
Go on then. I like that. That sounds better than the clown. Do you know, at this point, anything sounds better than the clown. Okay.
Well, George Wilde Galvin, who had the stage name Dan Leno.
Ooh.
He was born in St Pancras, London, and began entertaining as a child, joining his parents on stage during their musical acts. And he was famous as a young person for his famous clog dancing.
Clog dancers, that's one. I'd say Irish dancing. That's the other thing on my list of top 100 hates. Clog dancing, very close.
Well, it is very similar to river dancing by the sounds of it. It's very common in Wales and the north of England. You just dance with heavy shoes and make a clippy cloppy noise. So it's very similar to river
nuisance
dance.
Of yourself. Okay.
So Dan Leno also haunts the theatre. Now, he isn't cited as having an apparition similar to the Man in Grey or Grimaldi, like in the sense of he's a very clear ghost. Instead, it's around sounds and smells, particularly the unexplained scent of lavender, because he would cover himself with lavender to cover up the smell of alcohol on him because he was an alcoholic. Rhythmic drumming is apparently heard coming from his former dressing room, which people have speculated could be a connection to his clog dancing. Leno has also been blamed for pushing actors off the stage. Apparently, the comedian Stanley Lupino, who recorded in the diary, hearing curtains being drawn back, looking in the mirror and saw not only his face, but the face of Dan Leno too. It's reported that the sighting inspired the comedian. This mirror apparition is the only account of Leno's apparition actually being seen. Otherwise, they think it's everything else is him.
It's really good because we do have photographs of Dan Leno, and Dan Leno absolutely looks like an alcoholic. There's no doubt this man is an alcoholic. And the other thing is, he did a lot of stuff in drag.
Have
he
you
absolutely
seen?
Looks like, yes. I think I've seen. I know the one you're talking about. He absolutely
Sister Anne in Bluebeard.
He looks like he's trying to get himself into a female prison rather than a men's prison. He looks like a bloke who's trying to get into a women's change room. That's what he is, without any effort. These pictures are going to go on the website, so you'll be able to see. When you see these pictures, you will know what we mean. Looking at one of his costumes, he looks like he inspired Charlie Chaplin's costume.
What, do you mean the one of the big Salvador Dali style mustache standing behind a chair? Do you mean that picture?
I've just sent you one here. But he's got the hat. It almost looks like Kane, but it's an umbrella. He's got the hat. He's got oversized clothes. He pretty much looks like Charlie Chaplin.
Yes,
So he would
I've
have been
seen
the
that
era
one. Yeah.
that inspired Charlie Chaplin, I would say. But yeah, I can see the Salvador Dali-esque one. But nothing is better than his dressing up as his female. His
terrible.
identifying as a woman phase.
Yeah, it's absolutely terrible.
Yeah. He is.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, like, can you imagine him on RuPaul's Drag Race looking like that? Can you imagine? It would definitely be unique. Absolutely fascinating. Love it. Okay, so he died, and so the floral aroma. Yeah,
so
okay,
that
so it smells nice.
so that role, Sister Anne in Bluebeard, right? I was just reading here about. So it's quite funny in the sense of what you said about what he looks like in that and what you compared him to in that, right? Because around 1901, he fell into his alcoholism. He declined physically and mentally and displayed frequent bouts of erratic behaviour that began to affect his work. He was angry and violent towards fellow cast members. Friends and family became worried about him. And then once he had calmed down, he would become remorseful and apologetic. His behaviour was often a result of his diminishing ability to remember his lines and also the fact that he started to become deaf. The most notable performance was during Bluebeard, where he was that Sister Anne in that picture you saw, where he missed his verbal cue and as a result was left stuck up a tower for more than 20 minutes. At the end of a run of Mother Goose in 1903, a tribute was given to Leno. And on behalf of the Drury Lane Theatre's management, they gave him a silver dinner service. Leno rose to his feet and said, "Governor, it's a magnificent present. I congratulate you and you deserve it." Thinking it was a gift not for him, but a gift for the bloke that had bought the gift.
Okay.
Which is very interesting. He then tried to become a serious actor and wanted to be Richard III and also other Shakespearean roles. However, at this point, he had then been branded as being a comedy actor and also dressing up as women. So they said no. He then went to Constance Collier's home, where he bought her a diamond brooch. Recognized that he was having a mental breakdown, she refused his offer and he left. 2 days later, he was put into a lunatic asylum where he spent several months being treated with peace and quiet and a little watercolouring. On the second day, Leno told a nurse that the clock was wrong. When she stated that it was right, he said, "Well, if it's right, then what's it doing here?"
Nice. I like that. Yeah, she got his humour back. That's good.
He tried to leave the asylum, being successful, but then being found each time and being returned. So basically, around the time of him dressing as a woman was the time when he was having a massive mental breakdown and suffering with his mental health. And then being thrown into a lunatic asylum, escaping, and then being returned.
Oh, this little sad story. Okay, so that's Dan Leno. Okay. How about, have you seen Charles Macklin?
Charles Macklin is said to have died at the very old age of 106, and it's been reported that his apparition has been seen backstage wandering the corridor which exists where he killed Thomas Hallam. His apparition has been described as tall, thin, and ugly. I like that they threw that bit in, ugly. It's been speculated that his apparition appears here due to the guilt he may feel over accidentally killing Hallam.
Well, accidentally, it says he killed him in a fit of rage over a wig. Over a wig. He apparently he lunged at him with his cane, hit him in the face, pierced his eye, entered his brain and killed him. So he stabbed the guy through the eye socket into his brain. That's not an accidental killing, surely. But no. Over a wig.
Yeah, over a wig.
He actually was tried for murder at the Old Bailey, conducted his own defence, and was so skillful, he was only convicted of manslaughter, so he avoided the death penalty. He was branded on his hand. They branded him. But then he returned to stage shortly after. I bet nobody argued about wigs after that.
No.
He had to leave his cane at the door. So
Yeah.
that was 1735 that happened. And for
That
him
they
to live to the age of how old? You say 100 and something?
106 apparently.
Yeah. He gave his final performance when he was 100 years old.
Wow.
I did see Bob Hope in concert at the Albert Hall on his 100th birthday, which was brilliant. He died just afterwards, which was so sad. But I actually got to see Bob Hope. And the people listening to us are thinking, who's Bob Hope?
So, according to this source that I've got this Charles Macklin on, of being 106, I've also now done a separate search, and he was 97 when he died.
So him doing his performance when he was 100 could have just been his ghost.
Could have been his ghost.
Or, like, say, back then, who had birth certificates? Who cared? Everyone just said what they wanted. He was an actor, flamboyant, obviously. Killed somebody, got away with it, lied about that so he could get away with that murder. I'm sure he lied about his age as well.
Oh, here we go. So, it's disputed. His second wife gave his birth year as 1690 on the memorial tablet in St. Paul's Church, Covent Garden, making him 107 years old at his death. Others have suggested he was actually born in either 1699 or 1710. His memorial shows a dagger piercing the eye of a theatrical mask as reference to his altercation with Thomas Hallam. Wow. And I can see an image here, yeah. The tablet that has been put up does have a dagger going through the eye of a mask. So they actually think that the whole thing of him being 107 is purely because his second wife gave the wrong birth year to the people making the tablet. That's what they
easily
think.
Done, isn't it? Without proper records around, it's easily done.
Yeah.
I know at times I feel like I'm 105, so depends what mood I'm in as to how old I am.
And you look it too.
Thank you. I realised that yesterday when I'm walking around. Just felt so old.
Yeah.
That's because I am.
So we can go to the next ghost on that note, because apparently there's another ghost there. Again, a bit like the Dan Leno one. They just think it's him.
Yeah.
It claims that there's another ghost that wears clothes from the 1800s that comes in, sits in the front row, and then vanishes as soon as the lights are turned on. It's said that is the actor Charles Keane. Apparently he comes in, sits in the front row, and then as soon as the lights turn on, he disappears.
So what makes them think it's Charles Keane?
Well, that's what I was just looking at, because I'm looking at his career here, and it seems as if most of the career that he had was in a variety of different theatres, whereas the others, they had long careers in the Theatre Royal and various roles. It doesn't seem to be much of a reference of him being there. You know, he travelled, so he went to India for a bit. He was in Scotland for a bit. Oh, he made his first appearance there. That was it. He made his first appearance at the Theatre Royal as Norval in Holmes Douglas, but he didn't achieve any popularity from it, so he then moved to Glasgow. And then from there, he tried America. Then he went back to London, went to Covent Garden. Then he returned to Drury Lane and was Hamlet, which was quite successful. And then he went on the Lincoln circuit, appearing in Stamford, Peterborough, Boston, Lincoln, and Wisbech. And then he went back to America again. So the only links to Drury Lane are it was his first appearance, and he was there as Hamlet, where he became quite popular before disappearing off on a bit of a tour.
It's quite random, isn't it, though? They think it's his ghost.
Yeah. So it seems a bit strange to link it to him.
Yeah, it could have been anyone. But these ghosts aren't like recordings of ghosts, because they seem to interact with what's happening around them.
Yeah.
So it's, that is a bit weird that they all seem to be interacting.
And for them to be like, oh yeah, it's definitely him. It's like, well, is it?
Yeah.
Because why, of all the theatres that he performed in, why specifically would it be him? Yeah, so that one's a bit of a questionable one. And then apparently there's a grey lady there as well.
Now we've got a grey man and a grey lady.
Yeah, she is thought to have been a former ballet dancer at the theatre before she died in a fire. She is said to dance across the stage when the moon is high and the night is still. A cold breeze can be felt in the theatre, and that's also attributed to her.
I would have thought it'd been a hot breeze if she died in the fire. It's very hot, and you can smell the smoke you can smell like bacon cooking. And then the ballet dancer dances across. Still
Yeah.
flames coming. That would be really good though if she danced across, flames and the smell of bacon, and Do you know what? The bloke who got killed over the week, the victim, why is he not haunting the place? He was an actor, he got killed there. Why is his ghost not there? Why is it the ghost of the person who killed him? The ballet dancer, she may have died elsewhere, but she comes back and dances on the stage. Maybe it's a choice. Maybe that's what this spirit wants to do, is still stay on the stage. None of them are recordings of ghosts, are they? Really, none of them just like walk through walls. These all interact to the.
No, there
what's
was the
happening around them.
recording. The first ghost that I said about the grey man. He's a recording.
No, because he said shush. He shushed people.
Oh yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I thought the recording bit would be the fact that it does say about him sitting there, and then he always goes over to a very specific spot to vanish. But yeah,
See,
if he has shushed people
part.
as well, it's
but also he walks to where his body was found. So that also says this isn't a recording. This is him reacting to stuff. He knows that's where his body is. That's where he has to return to it. So it isn't like a recording goes. This is spirit. This is another reactive spirit.
But then is it reacting because the recording is of him being taken to that point, which is where he was. That's where he was walked to and then murdered, wasn't he? They took him from that seat and.
Well, we don't know. His body was there. He could have been killed elsewhere because the recording would have been the whole thing, including the murder, and just dragging the body to in there.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Watches, then he gets and walks to that point. Shushes anybody if they're talking.
I
bet they're actors. They're very elaborate, aren't they? Well, obviously, all apart from the sodding clown who's just a piece of shit. Is that it? Do we have any more? Any more ghosts?
No, I think that's all. That's all. Although I have just read something here. I think you and I need to go for a visit in May to the Joseph Grimaldi Park.
No. Okay, go on. Why?
So his grave, every May, modern clowns go and visit his grave as part of a celebration.
Is it on a particular day? Or is it just randomly? Probably at midnight when they all crawl out their own coffins.
Oh, it's on the date of his death. Clowns visit his grave and sit there in silence before all going their own way.
Okay.
So that's the 31st of May. So if you wanted to go and annoy a load of clowns, turn up to the Joseph Grimaldi Park on the 31st of May and just start making lots of noise while they're sitting in silence. It's on Collier Street, which is off of Pentonville Road. I don't know why, but Google have a telephone number for the grave of Joseph Grimaldi.
Phone it. Is it actually you can phone the grave?
It doesn't look like a real phone number, though. It starts with +55. Which country is that? Brazil. A random Brazilian telephone number is linked on Google for Joseph Grimaldi's grave. That's a bit weird.
Here's a fact about the Theatre Royal, which is unghost related. Not as unusual as having a Brazilian phone number for a grave of a clown. But do you know that Miss Saigon started its performance in 1989 and it finished in 1999? 10 years, 4,263 performances of Miss Saigon at the Theatre Royal. That's a lot. You would have thought if there was any recording, in the stone, the building, it would record that because it was the same action going on again and again and again for 10 years. How come stuff like that doesn't get recorded and played back?
Yeah.
After 500 years of performances.
300.
300 years? Okay. I'm going back to 16, whatever it was.
Yeah, that would be.
Lots of years, whatever, 400, 400 years. But anyway, lots of performances. That stage should be crowded.
I've also seen that Andrew Lloyd Webber owns the theatre.
Does he? He looks like a clown.
He does, actually.
You know how some people look after they've had multiple botched plastic surgeries? Andrew Lloyd Webber brought that look in many, many years ago before plastic surgery.
He's the reason why I struggle to enjoy musicals. If people say to me, let's go and watch a musical, I'm like, No. And it's because of Andrew Lloyd Webber. My mum had videotapes of the Lloyd Webber musicals, and she would put them on, and I would listen to them and watch them, and I would be like, do I have to watch this, or can I go and do something else? It's like, no, you're watching this. And they were all awful. And they put me off musicals to the point where for many, many years I would refuse point blank to go and watch a musical out of fear that it was going to be an Andrew Lloyd Webber one and I was going to hate it. Yeah, so there you go. You hate clowns. I hate Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Anyway, finish up. Let's roll this one up.
So that was the Theatre Royal on Drury Lane. Lots of ghosts, of many actors. Yeah, interesting one of loads of different ghosts there. Do look at our socials. Do look at Patreon for the full unedited version of this, where again we've got stuff that will be cut. Good luck. And here's me now thinking, I wonder whether we still need to edit the Patreon version because of some of the things we've said. We'll see.
Yeah, people are actually supporting us. It's because they don't care about those things we say.
Yes, and if they're paying to see it, then fair enough. They can pay to see.
We haven't forced you.
Disgrace ourselves. Yeah, you've paid for it, so you know what you're getting yourself into.
You only got yourself to blame. We'll put a warning out at the start of it anyway, just to make sure. You know. We're going to record. Do you reckon we should do that as well, Dan? We should actually start recording warnings for anything we put on Patreon, so we can just stick it at the front.
What, like a South Park style?
Yeah, warning? That's it.
Yeah,
we're going to do something like that.
Yeah.
I think we're going to need it anyway, especially if they carry on like this one.
Yes. We've got a Discord now. If you want to chat to us behind the scenes, go to our website, find the link, sign up, say hello to us and the other people that are there. And that's it from me, I think. Yeah.
But don't forget, Saturdays, we're a weird Saturday episode. It's just going to be us chatting and occasionally putting in some outtakes and some highlights and usually just random conversations. Saturday episode, Wednesday episodes. My God, we're flooding the airwaves.
We are. The Boo-Foons are taking over. Until next time, guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Boo-Foons, mystery investigators.